Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Poshan Mah of 2022, which is the first Poshan Mah after the pandemic's waned. Our idea today is to take the viewers through the work that we are doing at Sitara IIT Bombay in the Center of Excellence for Child Nutrition. We call it CHINU. But it's not just child nutrition, it is child nutrition and health. And we are also looking at certain issues of public health on a larger perspective. The three facets of malnutrition: underweight, stunting, and wasting among children. But our story will really remain incomplete if we do not look at the child mortality data. Now, luckily, NFHS 4 and NFHS 5, they do provide estimates, both the rounds, for neonatal mortality, the infant mortality, that is within 1 year of life, and under 5 mortality. It's worth noting that child mortality is usually skewed towards younger ages. That means neonatal mortality will account for a large fraction of the infant mortality. That in turn accounts for a large fraction of the under 5 mortality, which, though not covered here, will in turn account for a fairly large fraction of the mortality of children under 10. So this is something which we should keep in mind. Another point that has to be kept in mind is there could be sample size limitations, and therefore NFHS has given only state level estimates. District level samples are rather small for calculation of mortality levels, and this is particularly so for neonatal and infant mortality, because we are looking at just children under the age of 1. Nevertheless, I think let us see how the patterns look like. So first we go to neonatal mortality across NFHS 4 and NFHS 5, and we will notice that there has been an improvement. Now here again, kindly keep it in mind that we have taken cutoffs at the NFHS 4 level, and we are looking at how has the situation changed. So the cutoffs have been kept same, and we would notice that there have been gainers. Rajasthan and Gujarat have gained. Down south, you get a contiguous belt where the neonatal mortality rates are lower. But the area of concern remains this central eastern belt, essentially UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. On the northeast, Assam is a bit of a concern. And if you would also notice that these hilly states and Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, they are fairly close to turning into the green zone. And it's quite possible that as we speak or when the NFHS next round comes, they would have made that transition. Moving on, we look at how the story unfolds in terms of the infant mortality rate. Again, we would see that if you look at the infant mortality rate cutoffs using NFHS 4 data, we see an improvement. There is a belt which is stretching from Himachal all the way to Gujarat, where Rajasthan is a major gainer. We are also seeing that down south gains have been made, though Andhra and Telangana are marginally, particularly Telangana is marginally missing the story. This belt of central and eastern states does remain a matter of concern. West Bengal again has West Bengal infant mortality rates had been traditionally good, though the decline is not happening as fast as one would wish to. From here, we move on to under 5 mortality, and we again see similar picture. Rajasthan does gain, Karnataka gains here, Telangana gains, UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh remain an area of concern. Uttarakhand is a bit of a surprise, but that is how the situation is. When we look at infant mortality rates or under 5 mortality rates or neonatal mortality, a question would come to our mind that is it possible to do some cross-checking or triangulation of this data? So what we did was we have looked at the SRS data, which periodically or every year brings out infant mortality rate estimates. And this is how the picture looks like. We have taken NFHS 4 data and we have taken SRS bulletin of 2016. And we find the picture to be more or less similar, except in some cases there are differences between what the SRS data, what the HMIS data is showing here on the what the NFHS 4 data is showing and what the SRS data is showing. This is particularly so for Bihar and Jharkhand. Now that discrepancy is fairly large. Otherwise, if you notice, even in the case of Chhattisgarh, the discrepancy is rather large. But if you look at the relative performance, the two maps tend to coincide to some extent. Again, we notice that Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, there are differences. Punjab, where SRS figures and NFHS figures don't exactly match. Also come to NFHS 5. We again see that NFHS 5 results and SRS results. The SRS data shows lower infant mortality rates. This is something which one needs to take into account. In our view, time series analysis of infant mortality rates, if one has to do, it is probably better to stick to a consistent annual data which is coming from SRS. But it's good to make this comparison. What you notice is both sets of information do talk about UP, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Odisha remaining a matter of concern. The estimates when it comes to Bihar and Jharkhand do seem to vary significantly. And the fact does remain that Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat need to make, Gujarat has actually done better as per SRS estimates. But then the fact is, if you go by NFHS 5, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat may need to make some more efforts to bring their infant mortality rates down. We will leave the story here. It is important that while we analyze the child malnutrition, we also take a look at this important data set related to infant mortality, under 5 mortality, because there's an interesting question coming up as to why, or as why could it be that the infant mortality or child mortality rates in India have declined faster than decline in child malnutrition. There could be various interpretations. Is the health segment reach or delivery of services better, more effective, which may not be happening in the case of ICDS, or there could be other reasons. We leave it to you to think about it And we will take one more important output or parameter, which is anemia among children, adolescent girls, pregnant women, and other women. Watch this space. Thank you very much.